It is absolutely great to be a Florida Gator because Billy Napier, blue chip Billy, although this one is not a blue chip, but blue chip Billy did it again. The Florida Gators have added three-star safety Bryce Thornton to the mix now to the 2023 recruiting class. Bryce Thornton, I realize that this is something where a lot of Florida Gators fans like, oh, like he's a three-star. He is one of the lowest ranked commits for this class. I believe he's the third lowest commit, um, which is ironic that two of the three lowest are Bryce's, which that's just a coincidence. But this is still a big commitment for the Florida Gators. It's their fifth defensive back that they've added, which is fantastic for them, of course. But also, it's the second safety along with Jordan Castell, who is another safety committed here. Bryce Thornton made it very clear that, yes, Patrick Toney, Florida Gators co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach, played a big role in this. But Bryce Thornton is someone where, I've had John Garcia on the show countless times at this point. You all know that. And every time he's come on the show, he's talked about Bryce Thornton as someone who, hey, this kid is being undervalued on recruiting sites. And you can kind of see that by just looking at Bryce Thornton and his recruitment, who he had offers from, because this is not, yeah, congrats. The Florida Gators beat out, South Florida or anything like that. No, he had legit offers from Bama, from Auburn, from Clemson, from Florida State, from Georgia, from Georgia State, from Georgia Tech, from Kentucky, from Jackson State. I'm looking at the list right now. Miami offered him. Miami of Ohio offered him. Missouri, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Oregon, Tennessee, Texas, UCF, West Virginia, LSU, Virginia. It came down to Florida versus Alabama. But this was a kid who's got three-star ranking, but is clearly valued as bigger than a three-star. He's a three-star. He's going to be pushing four. We know that. He's someone who's expected to be a riser. He's used in multiple ways. He's risen already multiple times. Expect to see that happen. Again, he did drop initially, but he's rising again. He will be. Expect that completely. And expect this to be a four-star safety that's added to this recruiting class where Florida, I think we can all be honest about it. The safeties in Gainesville this year, not great, Bob. They haven't been great. And I'm someone who, prior to the season, I was saying Rashad Torrance II, best safety in the country, or one of the best safeties in the country, and Trey Dean, one of the better safeties in the SEC. That hasn't been true whatsoever. They have both been greatly underwhelming and greatly disappointing here. This one won't boost Florida's ranking too much because he is a three-star. He is one of the lower ranked commits, but Florida's still sitting there at number 12 for now. I don't believe that is updated because there's 21 commits now. So maybe he will push them above Penn State, but at the very best right now, Florida's got the number 11 class on 24/7. However, we're, expecting another one coming soon, which we're hoping for here in about 10 to 15 minutes. And we're just going to keep hoping that there is another safety added. We added yet another safety here, yet another defensive back, the fifth defensive back, if I'm not mistaken, that has committed to the Florida Gators for the 2023 cycle. And I'm excited. You guys know I love safety play, so it has been incredibly disappointing with how the safeties have performed so far. Yes, Kamari Wilson has looked good in his limited snaps. I'm not going to say he's going to change safety play in Gainesville when that's not something that we can promise from what we've seen from him so far. He looks good, yes, but there's still a bit of room to grow. I am glad, though, that the commitment happened when it happened because I was tired of sitting there for 30 minutes waiting for this. Alex Dijon, I believe, is scheduled to commit at 4. I believe Dijon's scheduled to commit at 4. I'll look at the rest of the messages in the chat. That one just happened to pop up. But this is a big ad. This is a priority ad. Like, I realize that, again, you say 3-star or 4-star, depending on where you're looking. I believe on 3 has Bryce Thornton as a 4-star. So depending on where you look, he's a 3-star, he's a 4-star, he's that tweener. But for now, that's what we get. Okay, it says 7, then it says 7. I know that initially the Dijon Johnson Instagram post said 4 p.m. but that was in the chat. Maybe he changed it to 7. I don't know. Either way, I'll be going live if he commits to the Florida Gators, which I do anticipate him to commit to the Florida Gators, which this is huge again. I realize that this seems like a small thing because, again, it's a 3 or 4 star safety here, but this is huge. This is someone that Patrick Toney and everybody has been chasing after. Not elite size. He's 5'10", 185 right now. He's probably going to have to bulk up a little bit, but he's someone that can do everything for a defense that wants players that can do everything. You need safeties who can cover and play run defense. Right now, we've got one safety who's a tremendous tackler. That's that. And another safety who I don't want to say he's busting coverage consistently. He's miscommunicating consistently. That's what it is with Trey Dean, by the way. It's not that he's busting coverage, that he's getting beat. He's miscommunicating consistently. That's what's happening with Trey Dean on the back end there. I know that the staff is very heavily pushing for Bryce Thornton. I know that this is someone who they're like, hey, this is a priority safety ad. We don't care about the rankings. And frankly, should you compare about the rankings? I know I don't, especially when you look at, I mentioned this before, who was recruiting Bryce Thornton and who was pursuing him. You're looking at, it came down to Florida and Bama, but Georgia was in there. Florida State was in there. Texas was in there. Tennessee was in there. LSU was in there. All these big schools were in there. This was not this, oh yeah, like a small rank. No, this is teams clearly value Bryce Thornton and they think that he could be a big time contributor. That's why it's all those SEC schools that were pursuing him, or future SEC schools that were pursuing him. Bryce Thornton's an SEC safety. I don't care about the ranking. I'm going to be excited. I don't care if he's 3-star, 4-star. He's someone that, first of all, this coaching staff wanted, and I trust this coaching staff. And secondly, I mean, a lot of other coaches, I don't care who you are as an evaluator, who you are as a ranker. If Nick Saban is pursuing a DB, I think he's a pretty dang good DB. That's my point. I think he's a pretty dang good DB, and that's where I'm falling for it. We're about to talk about, I mean, I'll take a look into the chat now and we'll talk about whatever we're going to talk about. I am also going to right now while I'm doing this. This is the beauty of doing a live stream, is checking Dijon Johnson's Instagram, which, by the way, check out the Locked On Gators Instagram and check out the Locked On Gators Discord, which is in the chat below or in the description below. But okay, Dijon Johnson's Instagram says 4 p.m. So I'm assuming it's 4 p.m. That's what I'm going for, which means it'll be coming up soon. But first, a quick word from BetOnline, because the Florida Gators are currently 2.5-point favorites over the LSU Tigers, which, as we know, Florida has not covered a game in which they're favored in yet. So there's that. We'll see what happens. I think they cover this one. 2.5 is a very small margin victory, where I think that if something is favored at, like, if you think a team's going to win and the spread is 1.5 or 2.5, I always just take the spread, because I'm like, what are the odds that they win by 1 or 2? So I'm going to take a bigger lead by that on BetOnline, which is your number one source for all of your betting needs and sports information. They've got everything you want, whether it's football, not sports in general. They have it. So check out BetOnline, head to the website. It's where the game starts. Now, for the rest of this live stream, it's probably going to be another 3 to 5 minutes, because I do want to get going in case and watch Dijon Johnson's commitment. So I will be back live again if he does commit, but I'm going to look through the chat now and see that, and then we'll go through. See, early on, it's Jordan, it's Keith, just being happy about what's happening, being happy about who's being added to this team as they should be. Jamaica said, we need safeties. Blank will be out of here. Yeah, he will be. That's clear. I honestly will say this about Trey Dean. I think he's going to be a better pro than he's going to be a college football player. Again, I think that he'd be great in man coverage against tight ends, which we haven't seen him do this year. That's not something that you're going to see with middle of the field receivers. So we haven't seen that a ton, but I think that he will be good at that. I think an NFL team will use him that way. Maybe bulk him up and play him as sub linebacker, whatever that might be. But yeah, he's not working out in Gainesville. Ed DePriest said, hell yeah, go Gators. It's funny that you said hell yeah when your last name is DePriest. Jay from Ireland. What's up, brother? I'm part Irish, so cool. What's up? Bama fought hard. Billy said, nah, old man saved. That's what I was saying, Alex, when I don't know if you caught it, but earlier today I released a bonus episode with John Garcia to talk about Bryce Thornton and Dijon Johnson. And I was like, is it elder abuse to stuff Nick Saban in the locker? Because I don't know, but Billy's going to do it, and I guess we'll find out. Stars don't mean so much to me all the time, and every once in a while, yeah, stars really don't matter. It just helps to be like, hey, that boosted our recruiting ranking a little bit. And if you're not someone who follows recruiting and follows these high school players, stars definitely help with kind of getting a feel for how your class is shaking out early on. Hope we get commitments from Mustard and some more commitments this week. I'm hoping that we do. Safety play needs to be better. It does. But everybody forgets Kyle Trask versus Dan. Yep, exactly. Kyle Trask is it's a fantastic reference there. Thought Kamari Wilson looked good. Yeah, Kamari Wilson has looked good, but again, small sample size. Dijon is the one. Yeah, Dijon, I mean, his Instagram says 4 p. I'm assuming 4 p.m. He's a Florida kid. He shouldn't be putting 4 Pacific for anything. So I'm assuming it's 4 p.m., which is right now, so happening very shortly. Napier just doesn't recruit stars. He evaluates. But yeah, so I'll say this, and I've said this before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. With Billy Napier and his evaluations, I know someone who works for another. Oh, they changed it to 7 p.m. Thank you, Bam. That works wonderfully for me, by the way, because your boy hungry. But I will say this about Napier's evaluation. I know someone who is he's on the staff for another large university. And he's told me that one of his coworkers used to work with Billy Napier, and that Billy Napier writes like full NFL scouting reports where most coaches put like 2 or 3 sentences. But Billy Napier puts a full scouting report together. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that's reassuring, I'll say. As far as, making sure that your coach is doing his due diligence, I think that you can't really overlook that. So I'll say that. Please beat LSU. Can't drop 4 in a row to the scene. I know. Please beat LSU. They moved his commitment to 7. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad that Florida is kind of branching out and taking over and also defending their own turf. This is the 21st commitment for the Florida Gators. This is a big class, and it's not done yet. Like, Florida's still pursuing Cormani McClain. They're still pursuing Keon Keeley. Florida's officially 11th, by the way. Right behind Miami, close behind Tennessee, and pretty close behind Clemson, which, again, if Dijon Johnson does commit to the Florida Gators, Florida will have the number 8 class in the nation. So this is shaping up to be a big weekend. Like, we know that, yes, Billy Napier said this weekend is big for recruiting. Do we have O-line targets? We better, because they've been bad recruiting the offensive line, by the way. Next week when we have John Garcia, we're going to be talking about that, because I really don't like how bad Florida's been in terms of recruiting offensive line. And I'm hoping that Francis Mauigoa, I know, has been rumored to be willing to decommit from Miami, especially if they keep pooping the bed. So Francis Mauigoa is someone that I'm sure Florida is still pushing for. Lucas Simmons, I believe, is his full name. I know it's Simmons, the offensive lineman that's committed to Florida State right now. I doubt he's going to decommit, given how good they're looking right now, but maybe. But yeah, that's something that we're going to focus on next week with John Garcia, is his offensive line, because we desperately need to add some talent to Florida. Zach, I said Cake Bandit Jr., by the way, 16, is in the Locked On Gators Discord. So again, in the description below, feel free to click that link and join that Discord and have some fun, because we're going to have some fun with it. And hopefully I will see you once Dijon Johnson commits to the Florida Gators, because hopefully he's going to commit. Thank you so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate the support from anybody and everybody. It's honestly incredible what Locked On Gators has become over the past couple months. So thank you so much. Also, if you're here, there's 78 people here. Early next week, interview with Joe Hayden coming out. So that was fantastic, by the way. Joe was incredibly cool to record with. And yeah, Jamaica's, I think Florida could, genuinely. I think Florida could flip Francis Mauigoa. I don't know if they will, but I think that the door's open, especially if Miami keeps struggling. But again, thank you so much. We'll be back to talk Dijon Johnson, assuming he commits, because I do think he will. And if he doesn't, tomorrow morning, Locked On Gators, 3 a.m. on all podcasting platforms, 8 a.m. on YouTube, and I will see you all when I see you, hopefully tonight.